Well, another month has come and gone, and boy, are we still in a shitty situation.
Yeah, can you even tell? Like, who can even tell that a month is come and gone?
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know days anymore.
Yeah, you see, Jermon got the full beard going on over there.
Man.
You got Leslie with also the full beard going on over here.
You're telling my secrets.
And I still can't grow one.
Oh,
So here we are all together, the adventure team, back on Zoom as if we were training for a contest that we would inevitably get screwed over by.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
Zoom brings up the old memories.
Oh boy. I wonder what those working guys are doing now. Not working.
Nobody's working.
They're
Screw
this-
now, I guess.
They just kind of switched their narrative to, if you weren't working, what'd you be doing? This is a Choose Our Own Adventure, usually a Patreon show, but since the Patreon has been suspended for a little bit, to, help you out with your finances there, we're still going to put this out for all the regular Pop Riggins, so you get a little taste of us behind the paywall curtain, because when shit gets back to work, you're paying for this shit.
The plebeians finally get their day.
The plebeians.
Give the peasants a little taste there.
A little taste. A little.
Yeah. You hooked.
Yep. And then get you at that $7 tier and it's a wrap. So how are you all keeping busy in this time of isolation? Jermon, let's start with you. What have you been up to? So you haven't done, me and Leslie last month did the little side quests thing. So you guys haven't done a Choose Our Own Adventure proper since, February?
February, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, what you been up to, Jermon?
A lot of streaming. I literally just started a MCU rewatch yesterday. I just finished phase 1. So going on from there, a lot of Grand Theft Auto, read like maybe 5 comic books.
Just 5?
I don't think I've made it to a hell of a lot yet. That's the sad thing.
I was like, wait a minute. Now, when you say Grand Theft Auto, do you mean you're just walking around the neighborhood and boosting shit?
I plead the fifth.
Pop Riggin cannot be used as evidence in a court of law.
Yes.
Brian, what have you been up to?
Nothing much has changed for me. I still work full time, and there's the added wrinkle now that the fact that I have to work and my child is present most of the day. So it's actually, I feel like I'm working 3 times as hard as I was before all this started. So this shit is for the birds, man. I am done. I cracked this weekend and I was like, look, if we don't watch a movie, just a movie, I'm going to go nuts. We've been stuck indoors for 6 or 7 weeks now, and I think I've seen one movie, but I've seen that one movie about 30 times. And that movie
Let me guess. Frozen?
Is Frozen 2.
Oh,
yeah. Because my kid became fixated on it. He has not mentioned it once this week, though. So I'm hoping the Frozen phase is at an end.
Let me hit you with a little spoiler alert. It's not.
oh.
And what about you, young Ellsworth? How have you been keeping yourself busy?
Well, like Brian, I'm still working. I actually started working from home a little bit before the order came out.
Order 66.
I mean, it kind of feels like it. No, so I've been taking advantage of Lord of the Rings Online. They're offering all of their content for free, whereas some of it would be behind a paywall for free to play.
Cool.
Been watching some Tiger King.
Oh God, yeah. Hey, I'm drinking a sour beer called Cool Cats and Kittens right now.
Well, I was kind of hoping Daryl would be like, okay, let's introduce ourselves, and I was going to intro with that. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens.
Oh man, yeah. Oh.
We have somebody
we could spend the whole time talking about Tiger King. I suspect we could spend this entire episode just talking about Tiger King.
We have somebody that logs on to our work chat, and that's the first thing she puts into the chat every single day. And I'm
Nothing will
like,
make you guys think she killed her husband quite like that.
all right then. Well, suppose we should get into this week's or this month's business. So if you haven't listened to an episode of Choose Our Own Adventure, normally how this works is this whole thing happens behind our Patreon paywall. If you donate at a certain amount, you get to provide us with our topics for today. You are steering the conversation of this podcast. And then if you pay at a different amount, then you actually get to listen to the show. $300 is what you have to pay to listen to this.
Yes.
If you pay at the highest amount, one of us will come to your house and answer your question live and in person, but you have to feed us while we're there.
And we prefer
just
because
hope it ain't me. Just hope it ain't me.
Lovely. All right, then. So let's start at the beginning. We're going to start this joint off with Duquan Grady Swint, a.k.a. C 2.0, a.k.a. C 2020. He says, with the continuing of our end of the world quarantine, this month's topic is a simple one. What is your favorite disaster / apocalypse / post-apocalypse movie and why? Leslie, let's start with you.
So I went with 28 Days Later, directed by Danny Boyle, stars Cillian Murphy and Naomi Harris. Also has appearances by Christopher Eccleston and Brendan Gleeson. So I wouldn't survive, so that's definitely not why I like it. Just to put that out there in the beginning, I would be so dead. But I liked that it was not really zombies, but berserkers. And I liked that they would die out after a few days with no food, no, eating whatever. And I liked the couple of twists that were in there. I liked the sort of frenetic energy of the camera work. Just everything about it.
Would you like some making fuck berserker? I still haven't seen this movie. People have been telling me for years I need to see Days and Weeks. Yeah. I got a Jermon Jackson blind spot going on.
I'm really glad I didn't spoil the ending like I was going to.
Yeah,
I own this. We're going to have to watch it.
And if you have a chance to watch the Sandra Bullock movie, 28 Days, that's also, part of the trilogy.
Universe.
It happens on her 28th day.
Oh, jeez.
Now, you said you seem to be a mark for Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got Cillian Murphy in a movie with Mad Eye Moody and Eccleston.
The Ninth Doctor.
The Ninth Doctor. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, right on.
Destro.
He'll always be Malekith to me.
That's the name I was trying to pull. I couldn't think of it.
Hey, you give Christopher Eccleston a bad choice, and he will make it. That's what we know about Eccleston.
He's chosen some suspect roles.
He was also the husband in The Others. You remember that one?
The Nicole Kidman joint.
The one that comes back from the war.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
This is considered a horror movie, right, Leslie?
Yeah.
That's why I haven't seen it.
That would explain why I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty mortifying.
It starts out
pretty good.
It starts out with the rage virus that's created in a lab accident. It gets out, highly contagious, and people just immediately go nuts. They go crazy. They rage out. And so it follows Cillian Murphy. He wakes up in a hospital bed, like, shit's insane. And he just kind of wanders until he finds people, and it goes from there.
As zombie apocalypse protagonists tend to do.
Yes.
Coma. What's going on, guys?
Don't worry. That will be mentioned later on in this show.
Oh.
Jermon, what about you? What is your post-apocalyptic go-to joint?
See, that is first note, that's a very broad spectrum or whatever, because there's a really big difference between like disaster movies and then post-apocalyptic like movies. But I'm gonna have to go with Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior.
Ah, okay, yeah. When things,
Man, I love that movie, man. That's like a lot of people love Fury Road, and as they should. And to think that George Miller was still doing that stuff, like, and he hasn't lost a step whatsoever. But like, that is, to me, I think the second one, even before Fury Road, was probably one of the best Mad Max movies he's done. Like, the action was just like, the pacing and the action was just on point. And I mean, it was funny because at that point Mel Gibson was trying to play Max as the reluctant warrior. He didn't want anything to do with the thing until the dog got killed,
and then it was on.
That's when it popped off. And had appearance by Vernon Wells, so that's always welcome.
It seems like that's the last one that almost has, well, I guess a little bit of Beyond Thunderdome, but some semblance of civilization, unlike Fury Road. Like, there's still like actual roads in Mad Max. They still like working vehicles and all that kind of shit. I haven't seen Mad Max 2 in a long ass time. No,
the first one still had I think it was all filmed in like a subdivision, like just like a neighborhood, like George Miller's neighborhood. But Road Warrior, easily the best of that initial trilogy of Mad Max movies, I think
there's a Mad Max almost for everybody. Like, of course the newer folks will love Fury Road. I think that childhood nostalgia, like Thunderdome, speaks to you, and then you have Road Warrior, which is was probably easily the best of the originals.
Right on. Let's see. Have you gotten down to any of the Mad Maxes that aren't Fury Road?
I've seen Beyond Thunderdome, and I think the second one both once half a lifetime ago.
So 33 years ago.
Har. No, like nearly 20 years ago.
Okay. All right.
18, 19 years ago, something like that. It's been a long, long time.
All right.
I enjoyed Fury Road. I don't remember having any strong feelings either way about the two older movies in the franchise that I saw.
Right on. I'll kick this one off next. For this one, for me, there was absolutely no thought whatsoever that needed to go into this. It's George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I think it is easily, it's the best of the Dead trilogy. Like Night of the Living Dead, dope. Day of the Dead, no one really talks about that too much. But Dawn of the Dead, I think, is almost a perfect zombie movie. His allegory for consumerism running rampant is why they locked up in the mall in the first place. Everything that led up to how that little group assembled is all good. You had like your soldier, and then you had your news guy in there, and all that kind of shit. And then there's just the whole life inside the mall. And normally, like, a middle point of that movie would just drag of them just being in the mall, but they somehow still make it entertaining and all that kind of shit. And then you got Tom Savini and his gang of assholes that come and just, burn the whole place down to the ground, basically. And they got to keep it moving again. But yeah, for my buck, I think Dawn of the Dead might just be the best zombie movie ever made. And it is definitely, I think, considered post-apocalyptic. Jermon, you said that you think there's a big difference between disaster and post-apocalyptic. I just assumed that all the post-apocalyptic stuff is what we're seeing after the disaster has already happened. So you can't have one without having the other, right?
Right.
Well, would you consider something like Armageddon? Because it's not post-apocalyptic, but it's a disaster movie.
The what they're going up to the drill for never hits, so it never turns into a disaster.
Oh, see, I
don't know. Some fragments of that thing broke off and smacked the hell out of Vatican City or something. I can't remember what it hit, but
or like you have the core.
Because like Independence Day would be a disaster.
Yeah,
but it's not really post-apocalyptic at all.
Yeah, that's a disaster. But I think in both your instances, Leslie, they're going to make sure the disaster never actually happens, and for the most part, they succeed. So you don't get what would be the disaster if that shit went down.
I still consider it a disaster movie.
It's an impending disaster.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a disaster movie. I mean, Armageddon's a disaster. We can all agree on that.
Like
I agree that they don't get they forestall the disaster, but I still think they're in the disaster movie category. Is my point.
Don't you remember that part at the very end of Armageddon when they're like, well, Bruce Willis sacrificed himself and we all lived, and then like Billy Bob Thornton was like, yeah, but we're all gonna die one day, and then they cut to credits.
I don't think that was in the script either. I think it was Billy Bob Thornton.
That was just Billy Bob.
It's just his thoughts on life in general. Brian, what is yours?
Well, first of all, I think Day of the Dead is very highly underrated. But I do agree that Dawn of the Dead is better. My pick is Children of Men, which is ceaselessly bleak, incredibly disturbing, and just sad. And the thing that strikes me most about Children of Men, other than maybe the best like long take in cinema history at the end, like the amount of work that had to go into the execution of that last like 15 minutes of movie, is that this wasn't something that just happened all of a sudden to humanity. This is something that there was a slow rollout, and gradually humanity realized we're fucked. Mm-hmm. And we are picking up at the point where everybody has just been like, this sucks, and yes, we are fucked. Yeah. And thinking about that is what kind of made it so easy to slip into this world, because it's just, for us, we're just putting our eyes in it for the first time. But all of the characters, this is a lived-in experience for them. Everybody is depressed. It's bleak. It's gorgeous. Incredibly well acted, and my go-to apocalypse movie for sure.
Probably one of the best long takes in cinema.
I don't understand why people keep saying this. It just
how can you not?
It just boggles my mind. Like, I kept hearing this because I came to it late. I kept hearing this, and I finally saw the movie, and I was like, all right, it's a good long take. It's a really good long take. But all this talk about best long takes in cinema, no, I just don't see it. I just don't.
I don't know how. I can't think of 10 better ones.
Me and Doug, one of our first episodes of Cinnamon, the topic is best long takes. I had 3 ideas. He had 3 ideas. That's 6 ideas. In that 6, Children of Men was never mentioned.
Well, just because you guys didn't mention it doesn't mean it.
Like, I don't get it. Maybe it's just us, but I think it's a good long take, but I think there's far, far better out there in the world. I don't think Corwan has had a bad movie. I mean, no. Me and Leslie watched Gravity a couple days ago. I think everyone says that the third Harry Potter film is the best one that Corwan did.
Yeah, I think Gravity is his weakest movie, and that's saying a lot, because I think Gravity's awesome.
I think it'd be Roma for me is his weakest movie.
It's his weakest. That's near the top for me as far as Corwan. Yeah,
I haven't seen either of them.
You have seen Gravity. We just watched Gravity.
No. Children of Men or Roma.
Children of Men. Okay. Well, Roma's
Did you see Logan? Did you see Logan?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you saw Children of Men.
That's fair.
That's very fair. All right, let's keep this moving. Shannon, one half of the Shannon and Scott combination. Unfortunately, there is no Scott question this month. But we did have the Shannon half. And she said, Paprika University is awarding your PhD in geek/nerd culture. Whatever. What's your major/degree? What is the topic of your thesis? Germain, how about you kick this one off for us?
Okay. This is actually brilliant because, well, first off, it's me. So, but I'm going to have I'm going to get my PhD in trivia.
Okay.
Wow.
That's kind of
I
one of
didn't know
my
that was an
areas of
option.
expertise. Yes, and here's the beauty. Here's the beauty of that. My thesis is not going to necessarily have a particular topic because it's random ass trivia. I'm going to go there and talk about all kinds of just ridiculous shit that's out of nowhere.
Your doctoral dissertation is basically going to be the scene of Jonathan Lipnicki in the back of the car in Jerry Maguire.
Yes, pretty much.
What
I'm just
he's gonna get up there and do
ramble
that?
through some-
It's gonna be the scene from Black Dynamite where they put all this shit together. Like that's what that's what it is.
They're going to be like, "What the hell was that?" And there's going to be one professor, and there's like, "Okay, yeah, I get it. Give it to him.
Just give it back there.
Yeah.
Just get that one slow clap."
My God, he pulled it off. Leslie, what would be your PhD in geek nerd culture? What's your major, your dissertation, your thesis?
So I decided to go a little more traditional.
Thank you.
Feminist icons in pop culture.
Uh-huh.
And for my thesis, I would talk about the impact of the self-rescuing princess / badass damsel trope in genre media.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Focus on like Leia, Buffy, you have Wonder Woman, you have Black Widow, Luthien Tenuviel, and the Silmarillion if you want to go the literature route.
We don't.
Very
That's
well
good.
done. Yeah, I can get down
I like
with
that.
I like that as well. Mr. Martin, what do you have for us?
Mine would be in pop culture anthropology. And I've often thought about this particular topic, and I kind of came up with a backup just in case my professor said, no, we're not talking about this. I've just always been fascinated by The Simpsons as a cultural time capsule. And I think it's probably South Park, notwithstanding, may be the most relevant pop culture time capsule of the last half century. Just because it's run so long and it's touched so many different topics. It's managed to predict certain things that have happened in society, and I would love to just dig into that. My backup plan is to do one about how the Pixar films, specifically the Toy Story films, reflect every aspect of humanity from birth to death.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
That's meaty.
Matter of fact, if you could just go ahead and hop on that, we'll expect it next month's episode. Also, for some reason, Brian, we live like 10 minutes away. It looks like it's noon where you are right now. And it looks like we're about to get shit on with rain here in a couple of seconds.
Yeah, I know. It's nice. It's like being in Acapulco right here.
Not on this side of the Ford. And lastly, my degree would be in film studies, with a concentration in comic book movies. And my thesis would be the rise of superheroes in this modern era and the replacement of Greek and Roman gods and goddesses. That's what I would get down on. Matter of fact, that's probably what I'm going to just do when I go back to school regardless anyways. I'll get a degree in accounting, and that's still going to be my thesis.
You know what I think would be funny is if you did a whole thesis about, and the title of it could be "The Superhero Genre is Dead," looking back on 40 years of the superhero genre not being dead.
And Scorsese is ready to be like, I agree with him, and he gets up and walks out in frustration.
And it could be all about how like everything else has had these ebbs and flows, but the superhero genre doesn't seem to be losing steam at all, you know?
Yeah.
It's like every movie that drops or every flop, there's like, oh, superhero fatigue. It's over.
This is it.
Yeah.
It hasn't happened.
No other genre has that except the Westerns. All right, let's keep it moving. Manny Manfredonia, our Stargate veteran, he said, is direct to streaming at $20 per movie going to continue once theaters are allowed to open back up in reduced capacity? Now, since he gave us this question, things have changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Universal unrolled Trolls World Tour to VOD. It was supposed to come to theaters. They released the VOD. The first couple of weeks, they've racked up 100 million which is not a bad number. They said it exceeded what they expected it to. And moving forward, when theaters open up, they will still release Trolls World Tour theatrically for whatever reason, but they still also are planning to do dual releases of things in theater and at home on VOD, which some theaters have taken a bit of umbrage with.
Yeah.
It's going to be all of them before it's over. Like every theater chain is going to be up in arms about it soon. AMC was just the canary in the coal mine.
All right, Brian, how about you kick us off with your thoughts on this business?
Well, Regal added their name to the list today.
Regal
Cinemas. Regal, that's late breaking, guys. Regal, and there's a theater chain in Britain that has also said the same thing.
I saw that one, didn't see Regal.
About Universal. Here's what I know about the $20 charge for Trolls World Tour. One, it's not worth it. And two, a lot of the people who have thrown their $20 at it realized after the fact that they didn't get a digital copy to keep with it, and that it was a rental. I heard from a number of parents that I know that were like, I can't believe I just rented this and I don't get to keep it. And I'm like, would you want to?
Well, my thought with that originally was with you, but if you think about it, because being, not having kids, if I want to go to the theater, I'm buying my own stuff. It would likely be more than 20, but I get that experience, so like money wise, it's not saving me much, if anything.
I guess it's just what are you paying for, right?
Yeah, but for a family, $20 to see a new movie, that's going to be a lot less expensive than taking all the kids out to the theater.
And you're at home. Yeah, and you're at home, so you can, the snack budget is like in control.
Yeah, exactly.
God damn it, Jaman.
I need to back this train up. Brian, you said that parents were salty that they didn't get a digital copy. At no point did anybody ever say that upon renting this movie.
Bro, look, we got people trying to go to the fucking beach right now, okay? We're not dealing with...
All right, you're not wrong.
If we have learned nothing in the last month and a half, it's that people need to have every warning stamped to their forehead before the fact.
Yes.
So there are people out there who didn't realize until after the fact. And of course, when you're a parent, to be fair, if you've got like 3 kids screaming in your room and you are desperately clawing at the remote to get something on the TV to shut them up, you're not reading the fine print.
True.
But I don't know whether I read this or we're just speculating with somebody else about it, but the idea that maybe there would be a VOD option plus a rent and own option for like maybe $10 or $5 more, like so $25 to own, $20 to rent, or something like that might be an option moving forward. But my bigger concern is, of course, with the theater chains, because while a lot of people, even you paprikans out there, don't seem to give a rat's ass about the theater experience, I can never let it go. So that's my bigger concern is I want theater chains to survive this and still be able to provide us. Because I can't say zero interest, because I definitely have an interest in seeing Gal Gadot on my TV screen at home. But I want to see Wonder Woman 84 on a screen larger than my house.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Right on. Now, that being said, let's go on to Jaman. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I do think VOD would definitely be an option for these studios for like some of the lesser movies, stuff they know is going to go out there and die in the theaters.
Okay, so in smaller releases is what you're saying.
Yeah, like some of that stuff that they, most of the stuff they dump out in January or something like that, where they know it's not going to really do much. Maybe it'd be a better option for them to drop that VOD.
Leslie, would you be willing to pay that money for a smaller indie type joint? And maybe just save your theater going for your big blockbuster shit. Like something like this. May through August-ish nowadays. It's kind of like your big blockbuster season, and then you get like September, October, things kind of wind down, and then November is when your Oscar shit starts. So Leslie, would you be cool with your big blockbusters at the theater, and then you paying that $20 towards the end of the year for those smaller story-driven Oscar bait movies?
If I was
A little bit taller.
har. If it was a film that I really was interested in seeing and didn't have an option to see it around here, then yes. I'm trying to think of an example because I know there were films like that, but I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Like the example that I was just thinking about was Emma. Like it dropped in March. Not a lot of people got a chance to see it before, this whole business. But I also think not a lot of people would have watched it in the first place. It's a costume period joint.
See,
Right.
I don't know that I would pay $20 for it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
the problem
Like-
is that $20 price point.
Yeah,
Because
if it's a new film, like brand spanking new, and it's limited release and it's not going to be playing in Charlotte, then I'd throw $10 or $12 at it for a digital, or to stream it, to rent it. But if it's something that I just missed out on while I was, while it was in the theater, no, I'm not going to spend $20.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's like a FOMO kind of thing, right? Where it's like the big blockbusters are where the fear of missing out comes in. The
Right.
smaller independent releases, that's not present for, right? Like it's like maybe I see Jojo Rabbit week 1, maybe I don't see it till week 27. It's not really going to be the end of the world. It's not like I'm going to get spoiled at the end. Like, oh God, I can't believe the Nazis lost.
There's some
So I
spoilers
think-
in Jojo Rabbit, damn it.
Well, yeah, but I think that like what Leslie was saying, pricing it around like $10 seems a lot more reasonable when you think that like around time for cinema to digital already is like 90 days, right?
Yeah.
So if we can rent it once it arrives, quote unquote, on digital officially in 3 months, and it's only maybe a $5-6 rental, then $10 when it first comes out doesn't seem so excessive. Now, when it's $20, the only time that really works out well for you is if, you do have a family and it's like 4 or between 4 and I'm going to say 12 people because that's a normal family, trying to huddle around a
This
TV
is Conan O'Brien's family?
and watch
The fucking Duggars?
and watch Trolls World Tour, which again, terrible option, but.
Right on. All right, let's keep this moving. Were you gonna say something? Trying to put a button in?
Well, I was just gonna say my only thing is like, at $20, like I would rather wait and when they finally do the DVD release, because they generally run what $20-$25, and it's like it's the Blu-ray, DVD, and the digital copy. So
Yeah, right on. That makes sense.
See, and that's what one of the same reasons why I have an issue with paying $10-$12 for ebooks when I could pay $10-$12 for a physical copy.
Yeah, I think that's more just a convenience fee. That's people rather pay that instead of having to
True.
drive to whatever your bookstore chain is. If you don't have to hope that your shitty little indie bookstore doesn't have it, and you just waste your time. Anyways, moving on to Vikram, our man out east. Vikram over there says shows. Let's talk about shows that should have ended earlier, but got drawn out, fizzled out in the end. His vote is for Prison Break, and that kind of makes sense because don't they break out of prison in season 1? Done and done.
But
where do you go from there?
But to Prison Break's defense, it came back for a like bonus season, like one of those revival seasons, and the revival season was so good.
Oh, was it?
The revival season of Prison Break is so great, and it captured in half the episodes everything that made that show work so well for so long. Like every little stupid detail. There's a subplot that's really unexplored and is really fucking weird, and that shows up halfway through it, and I'm like, this feels like Prison Break, and I love it. But yeah, I don't disagree with Vikram at all. I thought though when I saw this question first, I was like, you know what I'd love to do for this? I'd love to have Pete Lentz in the room, but he couldn't say a word about it. Like just have him here with us, and Pete just has to listen to what we say, because I'm going to say that literally every show that existed prior to 2008 ran on too long.
Next time we can just invite Pete in and mute his microphone. And then we just enjoy seeing his reactions. That's the one we put up the video of instead of just the audio. And then we just unmute him so he can call us sons of bitches, and then we go back to business as usual. I'll kick this one off. It's easily the number one answer is The Walking Dead.
Oh God!
Wow, yeah.
Well, I think Jermon's reaction cements that one.
I wholeheartedly agree. Why is it still on?
Look, I don't care how you end it. Just fucking end it. All right? It's became way too formulaic. Somewhere around season 5, something like that. I dipped out in like season 8 or 9, and it just was the same arc. It's you show up to a place, people welcome you in, they seem normal on the surface, but the moment any one of them kind of digs underneath a little bit, there's some wild shit going on, and you're like, oh, it's not what we expected. The season ends with everything in flames, and they're dipping out of there just for them to show up next season to another place full of humans where everything seems nice on the surface, and they dig a little further. Now, I'm starting to wonder if they are the fucking virus. Because they just show up. Yeah, they show up, and then they leave everything in flames, and they go to the next place, and they show up.
It got to a point where I think it was a good 3-4 seasons straight. Wherever they were, that last episode of the season was a zombie outbreak. Like they were overrun.
It was like Woodbury was one of them. I remember their time.
Well,
The
farm.
No, I think the farm is the one example because they had fucking people locked up in the goddamn barn. Best scene in the whole show, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Well, but they end with that herd that overruns the farm.
Yeah.
And they're all split up, running, everything's in flames.
Yeah.
Shane was turned. You can actually bow out after season 2 and you'd be like, I get it. I think the show really jumped the shark in the going back to a prison in the episode where Rick's wife and T-Dog both died.
Yeah.
And it felt, on the one hand, on T-Dog's case, it felt like we don't know what to do with this black man, so bye. Mm-hmm. And in Lori's case, I think it was Lori, right?
Yeah, it's Lori.
It was like, well, the fans hate her, so here's some fan service. And I was like, this is bullshit. Like, if you can't figure out how to write your way around certain characters or make this show engaging for your audience, and this is all just throwing shit at the wall and killing people off for shock value, you have lost. And the show is still going on. I don't know. That was the point at which I was like, I'm done.
The book ended already.
All right. Leslie, what do you have for what show should have dipped out gracefully earlier?
Well, I had a couple because I wasn't sure if watching it through to the end would be a requirement. So the more superhero related one, Arrow. I loved the early seasons of Arrow. They started out with a 5-season story plan. And they got there, and it was time to end it, and they kept going for like 2 or 3 more seasons.
Yeah.
I tried to watch the next one after that, and it was just like,
Yeah, I think I made it about 5. Season 5 or so is where I kind of tapped out.
Yeah, it just, they should have ended it where they planned it. That's it. The other one was Scrubs. I love Scrubs. Season 8 finale was perfect. They should have let it go. But they decided to go on with one more season where they introduced med students and gender flipped JD and didn't actually try to do anything really new with the characters. And it was the worst.
No.
It was the worst.
It reeked of corporate interference, of like Suits saying like, well, let's just keep going with this because this worked. The kids love it. Like, no.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
All right, Brian.
Dave Franco was not enough to save that.
No, Dave Franco was not enough to save that. Brian, what you got over there?
again, other than every show that existed before 2008, my pick is Arrested Development. And okay, so on the one hand, and I think I've probably brought this up before, I think our current state and the climate of society here and the family that has ascended to the highest office in the land kind of cheapens Arrested Development a little bit, because now it's like this kind of isn't funny anymore because it's kind of happening to us. We're not just observers.
Right.
But taking that away, the first 3 seasons of Arrested Development are about as flawless as comedy television gets, and some of the most complex and creative storytelling and joke telling, I think, in TV history. The frenzied fan base that wanted another season finally got it with the Netflix season 4. I count myself among the people who really loved season 4 because it was experimental. It was very different. And I thought it was narratively rewarding to watch over and over again. So I liked season 4. Season 5 came out, and it was like a half-baked version of the original series. And there were a couple really funny moments in it, but I forgot most of what happened in it. And I have yet to meet a single person who has watched the second half of season 5. I haven't spoken to anybody who has watched the back half of that season. Like, everybody's like, oh shit, that did come out. When did that come out? It came out 1.5 years ago.
Yeah,
and nobody's watched it.
I watched because I watched season 4 when it dropped on Netflix. Thought it was absolutely brilliant. I don't think I made it past 3 episodes of season 5. Like, I was just like watching, and I wanted to love it, but I was just like, I felt like I was going through the motions watching it. Like, I was like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, you never want that. It never needs to feel like homework.
Yeah, it felt like a chore trying to get through an episode.
Yeah.
It's a real shame, too. Real shame.
German, what do you have for this?
It's funny because I was thinking about a few different shows, like, some of the obvious stuff, like How I Met Your Mother. It went on way too long.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But
That was also on the list.
given hindsight, I would have loved for Heroes to have only been 1 season, like kind of like a Watchmen, because it had the absolute perfect first season. But I think they got caught up in the whole, because it really felt like they were trying to be the next Lost or whatever, trying to build up all this mythology and all these mysteries and questions and different stuff that was going on in the series, and it just got muddled badly.
I can see that. I can agree with that. I still say to this day that Heroes is the most solid first season of a show of all time. Yeah.
Well, by far. Like, but yeah, had they just ended right, made it a limited series and ended right there in 1 season, people would probably still be talking about it to this day.
Okay, fair enough. Right on. Let's keep it moving. We're already at 50 minutes.
What was your pick? Did you say something?
Yeah, Walking Dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's not talk about that again. Let's get out.
Brad Ledbetter of Thirsty Nomad fame. Go roll over there if you're in the Charlotte surrounding areas. 4402 Stuart Andrew Boulevard. Get cans, get your growlers filled, get that tasty Thirsty Nomad in your life, please.
Just drive by there and throw money.
Just drive by there, wad up your hard-earned money, and just toss it in that general direction. I guarantee Brad will find it on the ground.
Tie it to a brick.
And just hurl it through that plate glass as hard as you can. Or just put it in the mailbox.
A gently placed brick in the mailbox.
We got some new beers coming out on Saturday, by the way, or a new beer coming out on Saturday. He said back in the day, there's a Star Trek, the original series, and X-Men one-shot comic book crossover. What weird-ass superhero crossover would you like to see for a one-shot comic today? He said he's going with a Stranger Things Legion crossover, which, if nothing else, would be visually amazing and absolutely wonky and completely not understandable at all.
That would be wild on paper. Yes.
Welcome to our new segment, Wild on Paper, with Jermon Jackson. I agree. That would be wild on paper. And Jermon, what do you have for this?
I chose. I kind of missed the old Marvel DC crossovers because especially like during the '90s, they always used to do it like crazy. But I kind of went absurd myself. I kind of want to see the Great Lakes Avengers and the Legion of Substitute Heroes. I just love those just like those D-list like heroes and stuff like that. Those people kind of like the not ready for prime time players, basically.
All right.
And because they always deal with I think every time they did one of those like Legion Substitute Heroes or like Great Lakes Avengers, I think it felt like the writer's mission was to like come up with the most absurd power set possible. Like,
Yeah.
Fair, yeah. Shout out to Squirrel Girl, the head of the Great Lakes Avengers.
How she ironically became like just super popular is just like beyond me.
But like beyond the writers as well.
Yeah. But it was funny because especially like if you ever read Legion of Superheroes back in the days, because every so often they would do some tryouts for new members, and they would always have those members that didn't quite make it, but then eventually those members decided to form a team, and it's like
the team Scrubs.
It's basically.
It's an interesting way to take this, sir. An interesting way to take this. Oh, Leslie, what do you have on this?
So, I mean, he did say weird-ass superhero crossover. So I decided I would like to see Jessica Jones crossed over with Grant Morrison's The Invisibles.
Ooh.
I want the cross-dimensional mystery detective-solving thing. She's going to mostly be hanging out with Ragged Robin and King Mob and fighting the Archons of the Outer Church and all that craziness.
I like that. I would read that.
I could see Jessica Jones right now just cussing somebody out, just seeing just some absurd shit, just like
right?
What the fuck is this?
I would prefer it though if Bendis and Morrison were each responsible for their respective characters' dialogue.
Oh
yeah.
Wow! yeah,
because no one does Jessica Jones like Bendis does.
Yeah. And I wouldn't want Bendis writing Invisibles.
All right, fair enough. There's also that. Morrison doesn't let people play in his yard. I'll go with I went with like Odd Couple type business, like who were two just very unlikely able to work together people, and I just went as opposite ends of the spectrum as I possibly could. So I took our paragon of hope and virtue since the 1930s in Superman, our big blue Boy Scout, and I'd like to pair him up with Frank Castle.
Wow.
I want a Superman Punisher crossover.
Can't do it. And I'll tell you why. Because the stickers that are going to be on the back of everybody's cars moving forward after that are going to make me want to blow my brains out.
Oh, no.
S shield, but there's the skull inside of it. Oh, God.
You are 100% correct, by the way.
I guarantee you kryptonite bullets will get involved somehow in that story.
Oh, yeah.
That's panel 4, sir. That's how the shit starts. I think it'll be interesting to see a grouping like that of a person who tries to be the embodiment of hope and optimism, and things are good, they can always be better, or things are bad now but they will get better. That's what Superman is, right? That's the heart of him. He always sees the good in humanity. And then you have Frank, who is very much not that. Very much, you are an optimist, I am a realist. Times are shitty and hard choices need to be made, and I'm the person to make those hard choices. And just the conversations that they would have back and forth, it's kind of reminiscent of the season 2 of Daredevil, the rooftop fight.
Yeah.
His breaking down his viewpoints with Daredevil. I think it'd be interesting to see if they were able to find any common ground whatsoever. And I think that answer is no, other than the fact that bad guys are bad guys. And see if anyone could move their moral barometer 1 inch one way or the other, which I also think is no. Brian, what do you have?
Cable and Doctor Who.
Wow.
So the Doctor does something at some point in the past that, as people are wont to do in Cable's world, enables Apocalypse to ascend in the future. And Cable is bouncing around throughout history, meeting various incarnations of the Doctor and attempting to assassinate every single one of them.
Oh, okay. All right.
There you
All
go.
right, then. Okay. Doctor Wars. Right on. I can get down with that. I can get down with that.
And there's even various versions of Cable out there at this point. There's like teenage Cable. There's like grizzled old man Cable. There's like, I don't know, baby Cable. He could get in this a little bit. Strife could be involved.
Strife. My man Strife.
You know.
All right, I can get down with that. Ryan Elliott asks, what's the best movie food and what's the wildest food you snuck into theaters? He said
I can't wait to hear Jamon's answer.
he snuck in a case of Busch Light and a party pack of Supreme tacos into Old School.
Hell yeah.
That's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, I think it is. I've never snuck food into movies. It's never happened because I don't really eat in theaters. I am going there for the theater experience of seeing the story on the big screen. I don't want distractors like food. Now, there have been times where, circumstances have happened and I wasn't able to eat beforehand, and I'll just get something there, like some chicken fingers and fries. But those normally wolf down before the trailers are even done and over with. I do remember as a kid, my mom would make popcorn at home, then put some in sandwich bags and put them in her purse. That's about as wild as it got in the Mansell household. So I got nothing for this. But the first night Black Panther came out, and I do believe I've told this.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I do believe I've told it on this joint. But for anybody who hasn't listened to any of these before, that's the first thing that came to my head when I saw this question. I'm sitting there, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes left before the movie starts. A dude comes in with a plate of fried chicken, greens, and macaroni and cheese.
Yes.
And you can't sneak that in. He walked in with it in his hand. And the theater was just like, come on, motherfucker, we're gonna let you roll this with this. You cannot beat that. Leslie.
Oh my God.
Leslie, what's some of the best movie food? Oh, and for my buck, popcorn is the best movie food. All right. It doesn't come in cellophane, it doesn't come in a loud ass box. It's quiet. That's why I like popcorn. But Leslie, what is the best movie food and the wildest shit you snuck into theaters?
I have not done a whole lot of food sneaking myself either. Best movie food, probably it's some popcorn, throw some Reese's in there. Nice and melty. It's delicious.
I've adopted this.
But I've done the same as your mom's, made popcorn at home, snuck it in my big purse with some soda cans and candy. Nothing big.
All right, right on. And I do believe I adopted the Ellsworth method for, I feel like it was The Last Jedi. I threw a little bit of Reese's and some popcorn. I usually get popcorn in the theater maybe twice a year, and that's it, to fulfill my movie-going duties of popcorn. You get a little bit of sweet mixed with the salt in there. It works.
That's delicious.
Brian.
Well, I know I mentioned before that that I worked at a movie theater for over a decade, and I'm going to clue you in. It's going to really crack the case wide open on the fried chicken and collards plate.
Oh.
The theater employees don't give a shit. So the only reason, sneaking food in, we believe it's fun for you, so we just okay, well, let's let them have it. That being said, when I started working at a movie theater in the summer of '96, and the following January was when Star Wars Special Edition came out, and my buddy and I had this idea at the time. It's we need to just bring a whole fucking pizza into this theater, right? We're we're going to eat a pizza. We didn't make it because it was a crowded night. The pizza didn't make it into the theater. So we're okay, well, that didn't work out. But the night Godzilla came out, and I'm working there, it's I'm not really sneaking anything in. And this is just more unfortunate than anything else. But I had eaten with a bunch of friends at Joe's Crab Shack before the movie, and I had leftover popcorn shrimp. And I have the seafood in Godzilla, and Godzilla is not a short movie. It's like 2.5 hours, 3 hours long.
Roger.
And I swear to God, it smelled terrible in there because it had this like seafoody, warfish smell kind of that just permeated everything. And I was like, this is really like a 4D experience because like this is probably what Godzilla smells like. He lives in the ocean. She lives in the ocean in that movie, you know? So yeah, bringing seafood leftovers into a movie is profoundly bad form. But the thing about Godzilla was that nobody was fucking watching it, so nobody cared.
Jamon, what you got on this bit of business, sir?
Well, I think the best movie food, has to be hands down popcorn with all the butter. Like I have to get to a theater early when I'm getting popcorn because I'm going to go over to that little dispenser with the butter and I'm going to be there for a few minutes. I want to see nothing but yellow there. I got to have it nice and shiny there.
Oh,
but
God.
As far as sneaking in stuff, see, like back in the days, my aunt used to she used to take me and my cousins out to the theater. Now, granted, there was like 6 or 7 of us, so she had to, like, you know, just for economy's sake, had to stop by 7-Eleven and get us a whole bunch of different stuff. So she would basically like give each of us maybe a few dollars. It's like, here, just, you know, have at it, get whatever you want. She'll throw it in her bag, and we'll go to the theater. Me personally, I think it was, matter of fact, I think when I went to see Doctor Strange, I was meeting up with some friends of ours. Ninja Dave, I think, was there too. There was probably about 6, 7 of us. And I made the stop by Walgreens right before. You know, Walgreens has those movie candies or whatever, but they're only $1. I bought so many of them. I had M&Ms, Reese's, Goobers, like Mike and Ike's. Like I'm pulling out like bottles of ginger ale and stuff. I had my friends covered. That's
some Pepto-Bismol in there.
Here's one key thing. Cargo shorts.
Wow, there it is.
Oh yeah, that was a game changer.
That is a game changer. The person who designed cargo shorts knew what they were doing. All right, we're going to round this down with one last one from Alicia Gomez. And she says, all the people making free digital content right now. That's a sentence fragment. But I think
not a question. Not a question.
Where's the question?
I do believe we are to discuss all the people making free digital content right now.
Does she mean like us in this episode?
We are making free digital content right
yes.
now.
I mean, that was my thought.
Was that going to be your answer? Oh, okay, that's a cheap ass cop out if that's your answer.
No, I got a whole long list, man.
All right, well, give us a couple of your whole long list, man.
Oh, okay. Well, I went with like virtual tours, pretty much. So like there are museums around the world where you can do free virtual tours. You've got the Louvre, the Guggenheim, the Van Gogh Museum, Vatican museums. You've got aquariums and zoos, the Cincinnati Zoo, Monterey Bay Aquarium. You can take a virtual tour of like Disneyland, Legoland, SeaWorld, if that's your thing. All kinds of just various interesting places to go look at, the art exhibits and such. I don't know about you. I likely would not get to traveling around to all of these various places. So even though some of it's been around and been available for free for a while, it really took this pandemic to bring it to my attention. So
there you go. Right on. Digital tours. I like it. Mr. Jackson, what you got?
Couple things here. My main thing, as far as free content, has been the DJs on Instagram Live. I mean, good Lord. It's like every night you got like Questlove, Ninth Wonder, DJ D Nice. They're just spending just pretty much all night. So like if you get on Instagram Live and if you follow any of these folks, you can find something you can get into for the evening. And I was going to use this time because I mean it's free digital content, so I'm going to shout out our own Paprika draft runner-up, Pete Wentz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good call. Yeah, Brookstone Bards on Twitch. Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
couldn't have
all
been here
requests.
tonight for this anyway because we were.
Yeah, he was.
couldn't have
I think
strapped
he
him to
was in the
chair.
middle of. Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched a couple. I mean, me and Jermon have seen Pete live before. It is always a great show. Pete knows how to not only do good music, he's a great singer, but he also is very good at engaging the audience as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Yes.
As listeners are probably aware.
That's listeners are probably aware. Yeah, I mean,
We got to get him to wear that captain suit one time.
we gotta get him to wear the yacht rock suit one of these days.
Yes.
Brian, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, I second the thing about the musicians and DJs and everybody out there that are creating original content. North Carolina native Ben Folds has been doing a live show every Saturday night where he takes requests, and that's been fun. But something I just became aware of today is that the people behind the Mystery Science Theater 3000 live tour are doing a live riff on Sunday of this week at 6 p.m. Eastern on Twitch and YouTube. So,
Nice.
so you can log in and watch them. It's actually going to be a new short that they riff, and they're going to run a season 1 episode of Mystery Science Theater and riff over top of that.
Oh, they're gonna riff their riffing.
Nice.
So it's going to be
That's-
double riffing.
That's
That would be so
Inception
meta.
levels of riffing.
So that's pretty awesome. I'm kind of excited to see that.
It's a riff in the riff. I am going to go with John Krasinski. He has made some good news, which, if you don't know what that is a YouTube show dedicated to bringing notice to all the good that's being done in this bleak world that we are in. It's very cheaply made. Little production right there in his house, and it's great to see. And I like the fact that it looks very cheaply made as well. He got guests popping by, of course, his wife Emily Blunt, aka Sue Sloan Reed, Lin-Manuel Miranda, and all the good bit of the Hamilton cast have made appearances. David Ortiz popped up for a little bit. Red Sox fame, Chance the Rapper, Rainn Wilson, because you can't do anything without somebody else from the office popping up. The Jonas Brothers, Billie Eilish was whispering some shit. So they've had a lot of people that stop by to contribute to some good news. And if you're looking for some good, wholesome, heartfelt entertainment, I think you would be hard pressed to pass by Krasinski some good news. And this seems like also a good time to plug, because I think I'm going to put this up like 2 months. I'll probably edit this now or after me and Jermon's bit of business and put this up tomorrow. This Saturday, I know it's going to be short notice if you're listening to this when it goes up. We're doing the Paprika Watchathon all Saturday from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. And we're going to be watching 5 sci-fi movies on Netflix with the whole Netflix watch party there via Google Chrome. So if you got nothing else going on, man, I'll be shooting out the link to that in the Paprika Facebook page, facebook.com/group/Paprika podcast. If you want to hop in there, man, you can chat with us as we watch the movies simultaneously. 12 hours of movie watching is what we have going down. So it should be fun for everyone except me, who's hosting it. Jermon, what have you been nerding out on lately?
Oh, good God. What have I been nerding
What have
out
you
on?
not been nerding out on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say I have gotten in, like, going on YouTube and stuff pretty much nightly. I've gotten into a carpool karaoke.
Okay.
That is such a fascinating little segment there with James Corden and all that. And you'll have, like, say, like J-Lo or something like that in there. And just going, a lot of times I'll be going through a lot of their hits and stuff like that, just singing in the car and stuff like that.
Kind of harkens back to the days when you drive a car too. You were not really doing that.
Yeah. Hey, I still go to work from time to time, damn it.
You've got to watch the Migos episode, because seeing the Migos do their own rendition of Sweet Caroline, it's like, oh my God.
A Red Sox 7th inning stretch classic.
Yes. It is absurd.
All right, Leslie, what you been nerding out on?
Dune. I have been. I started the Dune audiobook, and it's been probably at least a decade since I've read it. Um, and yeah, it's great. I forgot how good it was. I
Damn
forgot
right.
all of the manipulations and all the stuff that goes down, and it goes down fast.
Yeah, when it's the
Goes
fan,
down
it hits the
fast.
fan. All right, Brian, what you nerd down on?
Well, Dune better go fast because I did pick a copy up here, and that's the next thing on the docket for me is to read Dune for the very first time. So,
Nice.
man,
Enjoy.
this is an undertaking that is much lengthier than what I normally do with my reading, but we'll see how it goes. But no, the thing that I've been spending most of my time with, close to 100 hours, in fact, as of this recording, is Animal Crossing: New Horizons, which was released at such a fortuitous moment in our history that it's hard for me to believe that Nintendo didn't create the coronavirus.
That is
It's
how
just
rumors get started, sir.
just the timing and the style of game it is. This is too good to be a coincidence. And I didn't give the game a second thought. I've never been an Animal Crossing player, despite being a Nintendo fan for my whole life. And 2 days before it came out, we're all suddenly on lockdown, and I'm like, well, I need something new. I guess this is gonna scratch the itch, right? 100 hours later, I am today. My character in that game is running around in a dirndl, and so that's one of those Alpine Bavarian female dresses, and steampunk goggles and a face mask, catching bugs on an island populated by furries.
Oh,
So, which I think that's what the game is about. You're a dude. There's furries everywhere. Welcome to Animal Crossing.
I'm pretty sure it's on the back of the game box if you buy it physically. There's dudes. There's furries everywhere. Welcome to Animal Crossing.
Furries. ... everywhere. The moment you've waited for.
And I myself, as I have been for the last 14 episodes of this show, am slowly ending my Bendis run of the new Avengers. I finally made it to the final era, Avengers vs. X-Men. I'm about halfway through that. When I finish that, I think I'll have read everything main Avengers related, from disassembled in 2003 till Mark Waid took over somewhere in his run in about 2018. So that will be that's a good solid run of Avengers comics. And then when I finish that, I'm gonna probably just start in the Hickman Avengers run again for the umpteenth time.
I was gonna say, have you read any of Jason Aaron's stuff?
No, because no, I don't like his lineup, because I really don't care about Ghost Rider on an Avengers team, to be honest with you. But Comixology just had a sale for each of his 4 volumes at like $4 each. So I was like, well, why not?
I wasn't really like Aaron's Avengers run kind of lost me, but the one thing it will have forever is the prehistoric Ghost Rider on a mammoth.
It's also in flames, right?
Yeah, like, hey, all right. You got me.
And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap this business up, man. This is the April episode of Choose Our Own Adventure. We'll be back next month. Will we be back in the studio? Nobody knows. So we'll either be back in the studio or we'll be back here on Zoom looking at each other's digital faces. That remains to be seen. Until then, you guys take it easy and have a good one.